I'm recording this so I don't forget who I was and how I got to this point. So, June 23rd, 2025, I wrote down in my journal the things that I was afraid of. And the first thing on my list was talking to women. It might be upside down, but yeah, talking to women. The reason for that was because I don't want to blame any scenario, but I just never talked to women before. And you might be thinking like, why? I was at an all-boys school since 8th grade after COVID. And during my time at all-boys school, I just focused on the sport I was playing, soccer, as well as these little ventures, businesses I tried so I could make money. And that was all I focused on for, 5 years? And never did I give myself time to have a social life because I was always thinking, no, if I just focus on business, I'll make more money. So I tried websites. I tried being a software engineer, tried coding. I tried having my own agency where I sell websites to roofing companies. I tried making t-shirts and selling them. Tried drop shipping. I tried reselling stuff at school, which was, I made like $55 in a day. And that was cool. I never did it again. It was like I always started something and then stopped it. And I was like, fuck, I hate myself because I did that shit for 3 fucking years. All of those things I just mentioned, all the businesses, I did that for 3 years. And the most I ever made doing that was $200 a month. While I was making Instagram videos for 2 personal trainers. I was like, and I sat back, and after I wrote down what I'm afraid of, that first one, woman, right underneath of that, I wrote down, I've been in business / entrepreneurship for 3 straight fucking years, and the most I managed to make has been $200. Crazy. That's actually crazy. And I hated myself for that. Absolutely hated myself. It's like, how can someone keep switching the thing they're doing? How can I, it didn't make any sense to me. And that has been a trend all through my life since I was a child, like 10 years old. I remember wanting a Nerf gun. This one Nerf gun that was $50. My parents got it for me for Christmas. I played for it for like 3 days. Then I want something else. I'm like, my dad used to always say, I'm not going to get you that because your interest is going to change every few weeks. And I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. This time's different. It was never different. Never different. Until this day where I wrote this down in my journal, June 23rd, 2025. As I mentioned, the first thing I wrote down that I was afraid of was talking to women. And I absolutely hated that because I was like, how can I go my whole life being afraid talking to women? So I made one action item for myself. I didn't even have a goal. It was just an action every single day. And that action, I don't have it written down, but I have the successful piece. But the action was talk to 1 new person a day. And so every single day, I would go to the gym, work out, and at the gym, I would go up to 1 new person and talk to them. Now, for the first 2 weeks, I only talked to men at the gym, which was a big step for me because I was still nervous being social. I've never done this before. But I started building up my confidence. But truthfully, like I wrote down, talking to women I was afraid to do, that was my real goal. I wanted to talk to 1 new woman a day. And I would always see them because it was the summertime. There was summertime at Planet Fitness. Kids under 18 get free passes, so it's packed. guys, girls of all ages. And so there's an abundance of women there. It's just like, fuck. I was so afraid. 3 days in a row, I see a girl. I'm sitting there doing my workout, nervous, trying to think of what I'm gonna say. Right before I go up, she leaves, goes to a different station. I'm like, fuck, man, that's my opportunity. Then there was this one day, I see this girl working out, and I was just like telling myself, like, if I'm afraid to do it, I should do it. And so I go up to her and say something along the lines of, hey, what are you working out today? She says, like, legs. And I say, oh, that's cool. Have a good workout. She says, oh, have a good workout as well. And like my heart's racing, but I'm feeling great. And that was the first time I talked to a woman at the gym. That was July 5th, 2025. Where's this at? Okay. Talk. What is this? One girl talk to. One girl talk to. After that, I talked to one girl every single day. I did that for 7 weeks straight. Trying different things. Compliments, talking to older women. I remember 2 times I talked to mothers at the gym, just complimenting them. One was awkward, one wasn't. I had a couple awkward situations, like where this girl was with her dad, and I was like, I wanted to try this line so bad. I went to the dad, I was like, oh, is this your daughter? Because I saw it on Instagram, so I was like, I went to the dad, I said, oh, is this your daughter? He said, yeah. And I go over to the daughter, I said, hi, I think you're really beautiful and really attractive. And she was so weirded out by it. And I was like nervous as shit because I was like, oh, she's not fucking with this. And I tried to end that shit as quick as possible. I was like, and she was like, thanks. I was like, have a great workout. She's like, no, thank you. I go back to my bench, I sit down, and I'm so fucking uncomfortable. There's not that many people at the gym, but I'm like, fuck, man, I want to leave this gym so damn bad. But I stay, finish my workout, and I feel really great that I stayed and didn't like leave the gym just because I was uncomfortable. I think that shows like, even in the most uncomfortable situations, when you do what you're supposed to do, I was like, fuck, that's the best. I remember another awkward situation. I went and talked to this woman that I knew was older than me, and I was like, I tapped her on the shoulder because she had her AirPods in. That was usually what I did when people have their AirPods in, and I was like, don't make an excuse not to talk to them. I just go tap them on their shoulder. And now I do that like whenever I want to talk to somebody who's with their AirPods in. Anyways, I go and tap her on her shoulder. And I'm like, I either said something about her eyes or I just said, oh, I think it was like, you're very beautiful. And she was like, thank you. She was like, oh, thank you. And I was like, yeah, no problem. That one was less awkward. But it was still awkward. I didn't really want to leave the gym after that. And I was like, because she was older than me. And I was like, damn, still awkward. There was another situation where I talked to this woman who was older, but she was on the ground. I was like, I tapped her on her shoulder again. And I was like, oh, I think you're really beautiful. And it was like, you look a little too young for me. And like, after these situations, I like analyze them. And I would be like, oh, what could I have done better there? So like that one, like I told my brother about that. He said something along the lines of, give me your number, I'll show you that I'm not young. Something like that. And I was just laughing with him. But yeah, I'd always try and analyze the situation after, see what I can do better. I did that a lot at the start. But really what I figured out throughout this is just like, if you're just present, like you're not thinking about what to say. When I wasn't thinking about what to say, what to do, and I just went up to the person the first time I had the thought, like right when I had the thought, like God will just tell me what to say. Like it'll just come out naturally. And of course, gonna be a little afraid, a little nervous, but there ain't nothing wrong with being afraid. As long as you still do the thing that you want to do. So I did that for 9 weeks. After that, I met that girl at the very end. And we hit it off. We had a date. We've had 3 dates in total. It's been like 4 months, yeah. Because I went back to college for 3 months. Then another month. We went on a date before I went to college. When I came back, I was like 3 months. And now, just like a few days ago, we went on another one. But it's like God rewarded me with something. Like I said, I was afraid talking to women. You saw June 23rd, 2025, I was afraid. And 9 weeks after taking one action a day, I didn't have a goal. It was just one action a day, talk to one new person. It was really talk to one new woman a day, because that's the thing I was really afraid of. God rewards me with the girl at the end of that journey. And there was a lot of times on the journey where I didn't really know what I was doing. There was a lot of awkward moments, like I already explained. There's a lot of times where I just like didn't feel like going to the gym, didn't feel like talking to somebody, but every time I did the work, even when I didn't want to, I always felt great. And I feel like it all worked up to that moment of meeting that woman. But as anything, all good things, all things have to end at a certain point. And so I feel like right now, it's been a 6-month journey, but I feel like right now there's like another calling in my life. And I feel like God is directing me to tie all the ends up from that 6-month journey and now move on to the second chapter, this next journey. So that's what I'm working on now. But yeah, the one thing I take from my younger self who did that 9-week period is pick one thing that I'm very afraid of. Like, that was like my most afraid thing at the time, talking to women. And there was things that I wanted to get from that, like having sex, of course, maybe having a girlfriend, but I think it was the have sex part. But it was like the main thing I was afraid to do was actually initiate the conversation and talk to a woman. So the thing I take away from myself is pick one thing that I'm very afraid of. Don't shy away from it. Pick that one thing and take one action a day towards it, no matter how I feel. So, like I said in the beginning, recording this, so I don't forget who I was. I don't forget how I got to where I am. And I don't forget the main lesson that got me there.